Embracer Group, the company that recently bought Middle-earth Enterprises and owns the rights to The Lord of the Rings and many of J.R. Tolkien's works, recently claimed that the Magic the Gathering's Race Swap Lord of the Rings card set helped grow their entertainment and services segment 70%. Let's get into this here. This is so. First off, I want to point out that they bought Middle-earth Enterprises for an absolute steal. They revealed in one of their earlier earnings reports that came out in June. They said the most significant acquisition of these acquisitions is the acquisition of the Middle-earth Enterprises, which owns a vast intellectual property catalog and worldwide rights to motion pictures, video games, board games, merchandising, theme parks, and stage productions relating to the iconic literary works Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien, as well as matching rights in other Middle-earth related literary works authorized by the Tolkien estate and HarperCollins, which have yet to be explored. I'm assuming that's something like the Silmarillion and those books that Christopher Tolkien published posthumously after his father passed away. Embracer Group then shared the consideration for the Middle-earth Enterprises acquisition sums up to 4.265 billion krona, where 2.91 billion krona has impacted the cash flow. So 4.265 billion Swedish krona roughly converts to around $398.8 million. Absolute steal, $400 million. To highlight how shockingly low that number was, Variety said that estimates at the time project the rights were worth up to $2 billion. They got it for $400 million. Absolute steal. But let's get into why you're here watching this video. They reported that they had a 70% increase in their entertainment and services sector, and it was primarily driven by this race-swapped Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings card set. In their most recent earnings report, they said, in the quarter, the entertainment and services segment also made a notable contribution, growing by 70% organically with a 15% adjusted EBIT margin. The high margin is primarily explained by a strong contribution from Middle-earth Enterprises, driven by strong licensing revenue for The Lord of the Rings. The performance of Middle-earth Enterprises is well ahead of the business plan developed at the time of acquisition a year ago. It is encouraging to see many exciting external projects based on this incredible IP, including the recently successfully released Magic the Gathering trading card game, The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, the upcoming PC console survival crafting game, The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, as well as many other exciting new products that will grow the IP further. So I think right there, you heard it from them. They are saying that Magic the Gathering trading card game, The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, is successful. It was part of the reason why they saw that 70% organic growth in their entertainment and services sales. And that was from Middle-earth Enterprises. Obviously, there's other things within Middle-earth Enterprises. I know they have a licensed mobile game with EA that probably was driving significant sales as well. Obviously, they brought in, I think they have the Lord of the Rings Online. I don't know how they segment out their sales. Maybe their licensing of certain things could be factored into that as well. We know that they're developing a new MMO with Amazon Games. We also know that they're going to be working with Warner Brothers New Line Cinema to bring new movies to life as well. So lots of things going on there that could be factoring into it. But they do say that the Magic the Gathering trading card game, Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, was successful. And that's one of the things that they highlighted as part of this 70% increase in sales. So I know a lot of people have said that that's probably not because people were wanting to buy the race swapped cards. They were mainly trying to get that one of one, the One Ring card. That was driving a lot of speculation, pushing people to try and get that one and seeing if they could get that. But regardless, people were buying packs and sets and everything to try and find that One Ring. And those packs and sets do indeed include all of the race swapped cards. And I think that card set is the perfect example of why we should be wary of what Embracer Group is going to do with the Lord of the Rings property. We had their interim chief operations officer, Matthew Cart, actually admit that they wanted to exploit the Lord of the Rings IP back in June when they announced they were doing massive restructuring and massive firing at the company. During a Q&A portion, during a press conference announcing all of these changes, he said, with some more centralization And I'm obviously not implying we are moving from one model to another, but we were going to incorporate elements of consolidation and centralization into certain aspects of our business. He was answering a question about potential growth opportunities. And he said, we're going to have a much better picture of the teams that are coming available. And we're going to have more data to support product selection and to create product, which is going to ultimately achieve better results than some of our past products have. And so I have a high degree of confidence that this entire process is going to easily translate into better product selection that is more profitable, and that gives us a better opportunity for growth in the future. He then touched on Lord of the Rings, saying, and that helps to leverage the IP that we own within our organization. I mean, we own Lord of the Rings. We know we need to be exploiting, keyword there, Lord of the Rings, in a very significant fashion and turning it into one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world. And that's obviously something that we are going to be doing. That's a much better use of resources than some of the other projects that some of our teams have been working on. Working together, we have those opportunities, and we are super excited to put that to work relatively quickly. So I think that the trading card set was done before Embracer Group took over Middle Earth Enterprises. That was obviously in the works before they purchased the company. But the fact that this guy here, Matthew Karch, is saying that they want to exploit it, I think this is the perfect example of the kind of exploitations that they want to do. I mean, here you go. You've got Gandalf being race replaced in one of the cards here. And I think this is a huge red flag for what Embracer Group is going to do with the Lord of the Rings property, because you have people that were working on this card set. Justice Geddes, a self-proclaimed queer trans writer, explained the decision behind all of the race swapping. He said, my main contribution to this contemporary reimagining of the Lord of the Rings was to consistently push for a diverse Middle-earth setting that stayed true to the Tolkien text. Absolutely not. You clearly did not stay true to the Tolkien text. That is a contradiction. It does not make any sense. You are lying. I guided continuity and lore checks, focused on character and society details. Clearly, you did not check on character details. That's why the characters look that different. And applied primary source material to our work. You also had the company's content manager, Adam Staborski, highlight the guiding principles of the card set were diversity and originality. He said, diversity of the Lord of the Rings is about the different peoples of Middle-earth coming together to fight Sauron, finding strength in their diversity, wanting to make this appealing story fresh and relevant to an even wider audience. Originality, the goal of this set is to express the story and setting of the Lord of the Rings in cards. For Magic the Gathering, countless prior efforts have painted vivid pictures of this world, but our goal is a modern take on the work of J.R. Tolkien, lovingly crafted for a new generation of players and fans. Again, this is absolutely the wrong way of thinking about Lord of the Rings. It's why Rings of Prime or Rings of Power on Prime Video. I've been watching too many European lore videos. He likes to call it Rings of Prime. It's stuck in my head now. It actually sounds better, I think, but to describe the Rings of Power show. But it is absolutely the wrong way of thinking about this. The reason why Lord of the Rings has been vastly popular is because it stays true to the source material. It's one of the most greatest selling novel series of all time. It's been turned into a fantastic, well-loved movie trilogy by Peter Jackson that eventually even spawned a trilogy on The Hobbit. You had numerous adaptations in the past as well, whether or not they were I don't think they were of the quality of the Jackson trilogy. I don't think the Hobbit trilogy was of the quality of the Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy either. But there's a reason why it is extremely popular, and it's because it is not a modern take. It stays to what Tolkien wrote for the most part. It stays true to his themes, the spirit of his work as well. Very, very concerning that this is the type of thing that we're seeing boost Embracer Group's sales. And to me, that means they might try and double down on this type of thinking. You also had the cards set's senior art director, Ovidio Cartagena, tell NPR, defending the decision to replace all the characters. He said, at any given time, we are surrounded by diversity, and it is our hope in this world to someday get along and come together despite our differences. It is also a message from us to fans of all walks of life. You are welcome here. You have a place here. You belong. Again, utterly doesn't make any sense. Lord of the Rings was welcoming people long before you decided to replace the characters. So to me, you're actually trying to keep people away by changing what the characters are and saying that actual fans of those original characters, how they've originally been depicted and shown, described by Tolkien, those people aren't welcome here. So you're actually saying the opposite of what you are saying that you're doing. But very concerning here that this is being touted as a success. To me, usually that means you try and double down on it, and they might do that with their video games in the future, which might even have a more wider audience of people potentially purchasing something like that. But hopefully they don't go that way. But I'm definitely concerned. This huge red flag that they are indeed touting this as a success, driving a 70% increase in their sales. Let me know what you think about them touting this as a success. Do you think this is as big a red flag as I do, or do you think that this is a completely untrue, that this wasn't actually driving a lot of the success and they're kind of just trying to manipulate it? Maybe there were other things that were actually driving to it and they just happened to reference this in the report alongside the fact that they had that massive increase from Middle-earth Enterprises. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below.
Subscribe for more.